Hey guys. So if you're watching this, you probably saw from the title that I'm going to teach you the secret to sounding a lot more natural when you speak English. The secret's not a hard one. In fact, I think it's one of the easier secrets, and I think with a little bit of practice, you can get it. What I'm going to teach you is the difference between using a and or an and using the. A lot of the times I see my students use a when they should have used the, or the when they should have used a. And sometimes they just don't use any at all. And that's just the worst. But what I want to do today is I'm going to highlight a few situations as well as explain the difference between the two. So if you guys would like to join me, I'll go ahead and get that started. Let me get this. All right. So, a or an. Let me make that a little bigger for you guys. A or an versus the. All right. So what we want to look at first is a an, right? We already know an is used before vowel sounds, right? Like an apple, an orange, right? An understanding. So when we want to use a is a very specific situation. This is a situation where I know what I'm talking about, but the other person doesn't. Person. Okay. So what does he mean by that? What does Bill mean by what I know but the other person doesn't? So this is like when we're talking about a situation where, for example, uh let's say I went to see a movie. See, I'm using a right there because you guys don't know what movie I'm watching. So let's say I saw a movie this weekend and I go to school on Wednesday and a classmate asks me, "Hey, what did you do this weekend?" I could say, "I saw a movie," right? I saw a movie. Okay? I use a here because the other person doesn't know what movie I watched. Now, if we wanted to use the, right, this is when both people know the topic being talked about. Being talked about. All right? So, for example, last weekend, or no, sorry, forget that. For example, last week on Wednesday at school, I told my friend, "Hey, this weekend I'm going to watch Spider Man." And he goes, "Oh, cool. Tell me about it next week." And I go, "Of course, sure." So this weekend goes by. I watch Spider Man. And then the next week at school, right? He can ask me, "Hey, so how was the movie?" Right? So, how was the movie? Right? He can use this because he knows what movie I watched, and I also know what movie I watched. Another situation where you can use these, a and an versus the, is when you're undecided about something. So, for example, I want to read a book. I don't know what book I want to read, but I want to read a book. I want to read the book is in a case where I already have a book decided. So, another case would be undecided versus decided. Right? Let's say you're at the grocery store and you see a bunch of apples. Here, let me add another thing here. So we're at the grocery store. Let me go ahead and draw that for you. So we see this bin, and it's just full of shiny apples. Okay. Now, if someone's looking at this bin of apples, look at my amazing art, right? They're looking at it. If they say, for example, I want an apple. That could mean he wants any of these apples in here. So each apple inside of this bin is an okay choice. However, if this person comes over and says, oh, I want the apple. I want that apple. I want the apple. It sounds like, oh, they've already decided. I want that apple. Or maybe, for example, this man was talking to his wife and the wife said, oh, that apple looks really good. And then he could say, oh, I want the apple. I want the apple. So he's already decided, like he's looking at this specific apple. That's a really brief summary of a versus the. I hope that helps you understand it. And if you can start using it in your day-to-day life, I'm sure you'll sound much, much more natural when you speak English. If you have any questions about it, please leave it in the comments. Remember to like the video and drop a subscription if you guys can. It really helps me out. But yeah, that was just a short little thing. Thanks, guys, and see you next time.